Being recorded.
Okay, we should be good. Noah, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Pledge of allegiance to all who wish to join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One agenda adjustment, I add item 3.A.I.3 co-curricular nominations. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. It's added to the agenda. Floor is open for public comment. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to nominations. So first one is facilities director. I would make a motion to go into executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A. Appointment of personnel. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Also vote aye. We're in executive session.
Yeah, so I put the,
We want to just lock the rooms and nobody else.
that's
Or do you have a waiting room? You probably have a waiting room.
we do have a waiting room in here.
Yeah, so we'll see if anybody else comes.
So can you turn off the recording? I will. Do
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
you want me to leave? Yeah, you'll. Yeah, they'll just be two separate on it.
I'll put it together.
Yeah. Okay,
All right. Meredith, do you have a nomination for facilities director?
yes, I nominate Derek Sinclair for the Facilities Maintenance Transportation Director.
I would make a motion to allow the superintendent to enter into a contract with Derek Sinclair for the facilities director in accordance with other administrative contracts. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Kevin? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Next up, we have another position, well-being coordinator. I would make a motion to go into executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A, appointment of personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Kevin? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye with executive session.
All right.
She is very nice. I like it.
All right, I turned it back on.
Anymore.
Meredith, are we recording?
Yep.
Meredith, do you have a nomination for well-being coordinator?
I do. I nominate Ashley Guptill for the Wellbeing Coordinator position.
I would make a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into a contract with Ashley Guptill for the well-being coordinator. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Aye.
Also vote aye. Co-curricular nomination, I would make a motion to approve the slate as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
And it is short, so I'll read it. It's Emily Hildebrand for high school chess and Mackenzie Hannah for the new girls volleyball.
Do you want to have an executive session about volleyball? It's not exactly varsity sport, it's a club.
Does anybody want an executive session?
I trust you.
I do have just a handout about Mackenzie's background. Is that would be of interest to some? I can text you a picture of it, Noah. That's helpful. You want it?
Sure, either way.
I only can. That goes through.
Likes volleyball, has coached volleyball, played volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion on the floor, we'll go ahead and vote. Any further discussion? Go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Aye. Mark? Aye. I also vote aye. Next up is a resolution to amend on state funding. So this is, MESBA passes they call them policies. They're not like our policies. They're really positions of the Maine School Board Association on educational issues, which are then used as a basis for lobbying at the state legislature. I have not gotten a whole lot of, traction with the conversations I've had with MESBA about the inflation, not keeping up with inflation, so I'm going to request them. I'm going to volunteer a policy resolution. I sent you all a copy of it. I don't know if people got a chance to read it or how to go.
I sent you an email with.
Mark sent me one suggestion. Noah, have you seen it? I'll just read it quickly because it's short. So the proposed position is the legislature and governor need to not only fund 55% of EPS, but ensure that EPS increases in pace with inflation. They need to restore the real dollar value funding lost in recent years when EPS has fallen badly behind inflation. Rationale, funding 55% of EPS means little if EPS does not keep up with inflation. In fact, that scenario is the same as cutting funding to the schools in real dollar terms. In the last 3 years, since the 55% milestone was reached, funding for schools has actually been cut by 5 to 10% in real dollar terms due to failing to keep EPS up with inflation. This has resulted in large property tax increases and burdens on homeowners and districts across the state. And Mark's proposed language was and or hold up the email here. And or large budget cuts that significantly hurt students, which I think makes sense. So I would make that part of the motion.
And some schools have cut and some schools have raised and some schools have been built.
Yeah. I mean, by and large, from the news that I've seen this year, most districts tried to raise it. A couple of cases, the voters said no, so then they had to go back and cuts.
Right.
But I'm sure if this keeps going, lots of districts are gonna be in the cut phase. So I would make a motion that RSU 26 recommends to MESBA the resolution is just read. Is there a second?
A second.
Any other discussion or questions? We'll go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Kevin? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. I will forward this to MESBA. Next up,
Just gonna do this, you can read it.
yeah,
I can
next up,
explain.
we need to have a redo on the warrants. The figure that went forward to the town was slightly out of date, so, again, I'll have to read the full formal motion. I move that the warrant for assessment of tax and the assessment schedule and notice of installments for each member municipality prepared by the treasurer for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 be approved and be issued in form presented to this meeting. And that the treasurer be authorized and directed to deliver to each member municipality its warrant for assessment of tax and its assessment schedule and notice of installments. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion or questions? Go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Kevin? Aye. Mark? Aye. I also vote aye. The three of us in the room will need to sign it. Is there another thing I need to read, or is that's the only one?
That's the only one.
Okay, so I don't
We're
leave,
just gonna
don't
sign
leave the room
copies.
before you sign it. Okay. I did notice in the board folder, there was a warrant, which was not.
No,
we
that
just-
was, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll just leave that.
That
be.
one's-
So the floor is open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, our next board meeting, unless we need another special meeting, is regularly scheduled for Tuesday, August 6th. 6 o'clock at OHS, back in the normal location of the library and on Zoom. Are there any requests for information and follow-up? Being none, I would motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion on adjournment? Everybody's willing to go ahead and vote. Noah?
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. We're adjourned. No, give my regards to Sydney. I'm sure she's having a tough time.
Yeah, we're at Harvard Forest right now, meeting its parents, so. Yeah, thanks.
So, yeah, tell Sydney I'm thinking about her.
All right, thank you. See ya.
Yeah.